And now we have Alan, whose last name I cannot pronounce. Okay, Alan. And, come on, second place in the Canada Slam Poetry? Are you kidding me? You guys won second.
The Canadian Festival of Spoken Word is a national team thingy.
Canadian Festival... okay, say it again. Come here, come on.
So basically it's an annual competition for teams. I think this year there were 22 teams from all across Canada. And somehow we got second. So go London! Alright, so my original plan was to do just a bunch of not slam poetry, but I've had a few requests from the audience to do slam poetry, so do what the audience wants. But first thing is I'm going to try opening with some page poetry, just some lighter stuff, some not slam material, because I don't get a chance to do this stuff very often. And I print it off because I can't read my own writing because it's next to illegible. Alright. This first one is called My Story. I want to tell you something amazing. A universe on paper. Sold to your eyes for the low, low price of how long can you keep reading? I want to tell you my pencil races across paper like a blind madman who knows exactly where he wants to go, even if he takes a while getting there. I want to tell you my fingers dance on keyboards, and my hands hold on to ideas as easily as a neatly stacked pile of final drafts. I want to tell you this heart never breaks rhythm when it sings on paper. I want to. I really, really want to. But that isn't my story. My story is a planet still forming, a rock still learning how to spin in the endless expanse of language, sold to your eyes for the low, low price of whatever the cover charge usually is. My story is a pencil timidly feeling its way across 8.5 by 11-inch deserts that don't seem to end. My fingertips fault and fumble trying to cha-cha and shimmy words from a keyboard, and my hands grasp at ideas falling everywhere, like a pile of unedited rough drafts. My heart shivers and forgets rhythm when it negotiates with paper. So, I'm sorry. I want to tell you something amazing. I really, really want to. But that isn't my story. Alright. So this next one, Dennis, I promised you I'd do this. This is a spoken word poem, a slam poem as it's colloquially known. I actually did this at my very first Mykonos, back in whenever my very first Mykonos was. It's about my father. My family's from Southeast Asia, and basically they're stereotypical Asian parents. All the stereotypes you see about in movies and videos and media about, Asians always know kung fu, and they're always really good at math, and Asian parents are very strict, and I want to clarify everything, that's, a lot of that is true, so it kind of sucks. So I wrote a poem about that, about my father, and it's called, Why You Not Doctor? This is going to be something a little different than you're used to. My dad has always been the most influential person in my life. My hero, my nemesis, and my teacher. He's this fantastic oxymoron who is anything but one. If life is the wild and wilderness, then my dad is my guide, the brave instructor who straps in with you to ride, the leader whose back is a mystery because he leads from beside, the hand who yanks me out from under cowardice if I even think to hide. Seemingly indestructible like the rock he is, holding my heart where it needs to be, but pushing me where I need to go, this ninja of knowledge with a sage's glow, so eager to bestow lessons upon me from years ago, even though the lessons are so damn boring and so slow. I know. His wise words are never for show because sometimes I fail. Actually, a lot of the times I fail. And both of our tears water the ground just so I can grow. But not physically, thanks, Dad. That old man's eyes can see through lies, fake cries, and the guise of false allies. They can simultaneously advise and chastise, but never do they patronize because they can see through the disguise that hides youthful ignorance. But youthful isn't the only kind of ignorance. Eyes left open too long can go blind, and sometimes even parents get it wrong. I remember one day, years ago, I felt this chill in the air. I could feel my dad furrowing his brow in the distance. I'm not actually sure how that's possible. His footsteps became foot stomps as he closed the distance quickly, like an angry 5-foot giant who plays bass guitar and drinks Molson Canadian. Or sometimes blue. Then he glares at me like Asian parents do and asks, "Why you not doctor?" Then, as if his arms were tired under the weight of all the B's and C's I've handed him, they drop to his sides as he inquires further, "Why you not lawyer? How come you don't study be an engineer?" So I sat on the barbed wire fence between shame and stubbornness until it got really uncomfortable and I decided to fall on the side I can live with. Maybe I am a doctor. Maybe this smile is my protective mask and the real viruses are fear and doubt. Maybe my surgical tools are the pen and paper with which I scribble down prescriptions for big laughs, free smiles, and deep thought. Have you considered my scalpels or syllables and the sentences I stitch together as sutures saving sad, sad souls from the sickness of silence and the suffering that is boredom? Dad, stop. I may not have passed the bar exam, but I can still find league loopholes in lyrics and lines. I can cross-examine a limerick just by checking the time. I will walk into a courtroom of grammar, a guilty man, and get off by pleading poetic insanity. I do not know how to assemble a circuit board, but I can disassemble the concept of board and reverse engineer it. Lexicons literally lay down the foundation to construct figurative machines of thought. Pencil strokes, pen pokes, build bridges that span the ocean. Words can harness light, humor, and make it move in slow motion. So yeah, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an engineer. There are a million other paths to greatness, and you cannot limit your vision to just one. Oh, and Dad, why you not doctor?
We want one more of Alan, okay? Who just won second place in Canada with his slam poetry team.
Okay, I thought my time was up, but I guess one more. Okay, so I might as well do the piece that it's on YouTube or it's on Facebook all over the place. It's the piece that somehow got me a standing ovation at the semifinals round of Canadian Festival of Spoken Word. So I figured I'd just show you guys what it was. I'm not going to tell you what it's about because that would ruin the surprise. All right, it's a poem called Stainless Steel. One, 9, 8, 9. It's 1989. People rent movies on VHS, knock on doors, and the only app kids care about is their own imagination. Updates on location come in the form of flickering streetlights and touch-tone phone calls. Now, somewhere in this sepia-tone story are the first letters of the first words on the first page of a book that probably shouldn't have been written, but it was. In a city with close ties and blue skies, two tiny hands reach towards a sunrise that he knows nothing about because he was just born. Curious eyes sit above a jelly bean nose that makes this adorable squeaky sound when he breathes because he has little baby boogers. A little tongue pokes out, arms wave and fingers curl, but he doesn't kick or wiggle those tiny tic-tac-toes because both of his legs are broken. Congratulations. He's a mangled, mutilated, medically mutated little baby boy. Doctors do everything they can do right, but 2 months after that first taste of sunlight, a young couple's son might not live through this one night, lose this genetic gunfight, and get shot down despite never getting to write his first sentence. So it's 1989. In a baby borrow's time, like VHS tapes, death knocks on doors, and the steady beat of a heartbeat is all anyone cares about. Life expectancy is 13 weeks. Expectation becomes fear, fear becomes denial, and almost reality, but after a while turns into hope. Because now, it's July 1990, and a young couple sings happy birthday to a broken miracle they decided to name Alan. 1995, I'm in the recovery ward, tired, twitching, held together by wire stitching, nurses switching, medication, and my father's hand holding mine for a few minutes each day. 1998, suicide by outlet fails because 9-year-old me doesn't know how electricity works. 1999, A doctor tries to explain degenerative skeletal abnormality to a 10-year-old boy who rehearses happiness like spoken word. 2001, I'm relearning how to walk. 2002, I write poetry for the first time, and as a publisher shakes my hand, I realize broken does not mean powerless. 2005, a high school coffee house. It's the first time my poetry brings tears to someone's eyes. 2006, I'm relearning how to walk. 2007, the nickname Short Guy is almost replaced with Poetry Guy, but only almost. 2012, overdosing on drugs a second time starts to corrode who I am, so I try so hard to replace pills with poetry. 2014, I'm relearning how to walk. 2015, I'm watching people talk on a stage at my first poetry slam. 2016, now I'm on stages, replaying my life like borrowed VHS tapes for the same people who remind me life can be so beautiful if I just give it a chance. So genetics can shatter my body until I'm Frankenstein's poet, but as long as I can feel, my heart will pump poetry through my veins and I will always be made of stainless steel.
Okay, Alan, Alan, you are ruining my mascara. Okay, honestly. Wow, thank you for doing all of that.